What is up, my friends? For the, I think, second or third time on this channel, it's voice reveal time. It is 10:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is April 14th, 2018, and the weather outside is probably very nice. But it's night over here, so it's different. If I gotta do something a little bit different for my channel moving forward, I like podcasts. I like listening to podcasts. I like doing all that shit. And I thought having a podcast would be fun, having a fun podcast where I just mouth off and just do whatever I want, because that's what podcasts are. They're kind of a basin to really speak your mind on shit. And I feel like I should do that. I have the power to do that now. My sister has this great microphone, and it works fantastically. So till I get my own, this will be in my possession, I guess. And I figured this will also be a good place to share some updates with you people. The rock rap collab, as of right now, the collab is 43% rendering on YouTube. So by the time I'm done recording this, probably it should be over, and I'm probably going to post it, and I know I will. So look forward to that. I've actually had it in my docs for about like a week, and it took me till now to get it, and I'm sorry, I've been procrastinating. That's my fault. As for future videos, I bet a lot of people are asking, like inside of their minds, they're asking, where the fuck have you been? You've been not making videos for a while, and it's been, all that stuff. I've been looking for a video from you. You haven't really made any videos. Well, I thought about it long and hard, and I think I'm going to take another month, I think, of a hiatus, just to get my groove back, because a hiatus is really what everybody needs. I mean, you can't just quit from YouTube poop because you are uninspired. That's not the way I do things. So hopefully another hiatus will get my mind off of my slump I'm on currently, and I'll get back on track with videos. I don't know if I'll be posting in the next month. I don't know if I'll be posting in the next 2 months. But I think as a parting gift for you guys, I'm going to post a couple of videos I've had in the docket for quite a while. I have an Eminem collab entry for Swag Pikachu's collab, and I also have this one I'm probably going to make public. This is going to be a round 2 in my current tennis with GS Giraffes. I've put that off for too long, and I think I need to get that up. I need to get that sorted out, because it's been almost 3 months since I started that tennis, and I haven't posted round 2 yet. So I think I need to do that, and I think that will be my final parting gift before I go off on my big hiatus, kind of just focus on life a little bit, kind of get myself a little back together, because it's not anything with school. School's not bad. I mean, my grades are fine, and it's nothing with like depression. It's not that at all. It's just that I feel like on this hiatus I need to really learn and kind of really need to reassess myself with real life a little bit, because my life can't just be about computers. It can't just be about that. So I gotta get off of here for a while, maybe reassess myself. I'll probably still be around, maybe on Twitter and Discord, and sooner or later, come next Thursday, I'm going to be getting a new computer to replace this old one, because I've had this old one for about 3.5 years, and actually almost 4 now, but it hasn't really done me good here in these recent times, and it's been hard to keep this thing around because it freezes. It constantly freezes. It's slow, it's clunky, and it's out of space. So getting a new computer that'll have a lot more space on it, that'll be faster. I'll finally have my keyboard back. I won't have to use my on-screen keyboard. I'll have all the workings and fixings. So hopefully look for that. Look for that a little bit. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, also as well, what are we going to be talking about, or what am I going to be talking about here on this brand new podcast? Well, if all goes like I want, if people like this, if people want to see more of the podcast thing, I'll keep doing it. I'll probably post it whenever I really feel like it. Not going to have a schedule for these things, because kind of like streaming, I can really just do it whenever I want to, whenever I feel like it. Because if I want to stream, I'll stream. If I want to do these things, I'll do these things. So I don't have a schedule for these. Don't have a schedule for these type of things. So I'm not gonna make a schedule. So talking about stuff like maybe we'll do like an album review. Maybe I'll do a YouTube collab review. Maybe I'll get a special guest here on the show, and we'll do some interviews. I'll do an interview with him or her. I'll invite some of my friends, and if you want to be a special guest, you can hit me up, and I will hook you up, dude. I'll hook you up. You can be a guest on the show if you want to, of course. So don't sweat it. So, and then I'll probably do some wrestling reviews as well, which I'm probably gonna end up doing tonight because this is my first podcast. I figure I'd start it off with something fucking hilarious because the wrestling thing I watched tonight was awesome, and even if you don't like wrestling, you get a kick out of it. So I think that's all. So now that that's all the important stuff's out of the way, let's get to the non-important stuff. Start us off here with a review of Impact Wrestling, kind of like WWE, but like budget WWE. Like it's the smaller stuff, the smaller guys, not the big names, the smaller guys doing the smaller things. And by small, I don't mean like weight. I mean like cred, street cred. I don't mean weight at all. There are a lot bigger guys in Impact than I think there are in WWE in terms of weight, and we'll get to that later on. But let's start us off with the first segment of the night, where Mr. Eli Drake comes out and he's holding two briefcases. One briefcase, he won these briefcases in a match called Feast or Fight, where a bunch of people fight for 4 briefcases. There are 4 briefcases set up on poles on sides of the ring. It's kind of hard when there's not 6 sides, because TNA usually has, Impact TNA, whatever you want to call it, has 6-sided rings usually, but sometimes they change to 4 sides, so it's kind of hard to keep track. But Feast or Fight is basically we have 3 briefcases on 3 poles, and 4 briefcases on 4 poles, essentially. Now it's a 4-sided ring. One briefcase has a world title shot. One has an Impact, is it Global Championship? Yeah, an Impact... No, Grand Championship. One has an Impact Grand Championship shot. One has a World Tag Team Championship shot. No, it's not Grand Championship. Excuse me. It's the X Division Championship. It's Impact World Title, Impact X Division Championship, Impact Tag Team Championship, and the last briefcase, if you open it, you're fired. You get the pink slip. You're out of here. So Eli Drake won the Tag Team briefcase, and in a match with Moose, who won the World Heavyweight Championship briefcase, Moose, big guy. I'll get to Moose a little bit later on here. OVE, Ohio versus Everything, and their best friend Sami Callihan. You may know him maybe as Jeremiah Crane in Lucha Underground, but they came out and they attacked Moose, costing him the match, giving Eli Drake the World Championship briefcase. So now he comes out with both of these briefcases, and he cuts a promo, and he says something along the lines of, "No, I have these 2 briefcases. I'm gonna cash in my shot." And you hear Josh Matthews, who's the commentator, and since TNA's taped, I think he puts his voice over it, and he says something along the lines of, Eli Drake's going to announce his partner here tonight, because he has the World Tag Team Championship briefcase. So he's going to announce his partner for, going to cash in his briefcase at the next TNA pay-per-view, which is Redemption, April 22nd. So he's going to announce his partner here tonight, says Josh Matthews, and Sanjay Dutt kind of piggybacks off of that. I'll get a little bit in depth with Sanjay Dutt. Oh God, I'll get into him. But Eli Drake comes out, cuts a promo, and then here comes LAX, the World Tag Team Champions, and the World Tag Team Champions Ortiz Santana, part of LAX Latin American Exchange, with their manager Conan, who's an old fucker now, but I guess he can still move around, and he's basically the hype man. You can basically call him Paul Heyman, essentially, Mexican Paul Heyman, because he's not wrestling. He used to wrestle. He doesn't wrestle anymore. He's basically the manager now for Ortiz and Santana, the tag team champions. So they come out, and Conan comes in, and he's like, I'm waiting for you to announce your tag partner, because I don't know who it's going to be, because I don't know if anybody in the back's really going to want to make friends with you, because Eli Drake's a bad guy. He used to be the world champion. He was the bad guy for a fucking long time, and he still is. And then Eli Drake starts to build up his guy. He's like, oh, my guy's a legend. He's one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time, and he was a world champion. And he's in the middle of another sentence, and Scott Steiner's music plays. You got the alarm and everything, and he comes out, big bad booty daddy, looking like Santa Claus. I'm serious. This dude had he had the sunglasses like he usually does. He has the chainmail on his head, but his beard looking, I think, 5 times longer than it usually does. So, there you go. Scott Steiner is Eli Drake's tag team partner for Impact Wrestling Redemption, April 22nd. I'm gonna shell this pay-per-view as much as I can because if you're not they really need the fans, they really need the people because Impact Wrestling is kind of a shod. So Scott Steiner comes out and he's basically ripping down LAX, ripping down Conan, and he says stuff along the lines of something I fucking forget now, but it's like he says something along the lines of "I'm gonna kill you," blah blah blue. And then he goes, find me on your cell phone, YouTube. No, I have to do it in the Scott Steiner voice. Hold on. He has a very high-pitched voice, so doing this would be kind of hard. So he goes something along the lines of, you can find me on your cell phone, YouTube. I'm famous, bitch. That's what he says. And Conan takes offense to that. And Conan's like, we're going to beat you and shit like that. I forget what he says. But then Eli Drake says something badass, something like that. And then he walks away and his theme music plays. And then Conan interrupts. He's like, cut the music. We're not going to let you get the last laugh. Our music's going to play last. LAX, Spanish words. And then LAX's music plays. So there you go. At Impact Wrestling Redemption, it's going to be Eli Drake versus... Eli. It's my first time podcasting. Don't give me any shit. It's gonna be Eli Drake and Scott Steiner versus LAX, Ortiz, and Santana for the tag team championships. So I don't know if I'll be watching that pay-per-view. I don't think I'm gonna spend $40 on a fucking budget pay-per-view. The next segment here, if I can think of it correctly, was this match right here. Last week I said that there was a match between Eli Drake and Moose for the World Championship briefcase, and Sami Callihan and his gang, OVE, come out, and they attack Moose and cost Moose the briefcase. So Sami Callihan and Moose have a match tonight. So Sami Callihan comes out first with his gang, the OVE, Ohio versus Everything. They were former tag team champions. They are currently indie wrestlers. Essentially, they're freelancers. Dave and Jake Christ, I think their names are, and they come out with Sami Callihan, and Callihan has got the little skull mask on, and they mention he's got an in the match. I forgot to say they mentioned he has an alter ego named Jeremiah Crane. I don't know if they're different people. I think they're both the same person. I don't know that with guys like I'm trying to think. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a gimmick with a dude in a mask who had an alter ego. I'm trying to think of alter egos in wrestling. I don't think there is a bunch that I can think of at the top of my head. So then Moose comes out. The announcer says Moose is from Moose Nation, which is not a real country. Don't be fooled. So he comes out. They have a match. They have an all-right match, There's a lot of cool stuff in this, actually. For being an all-right match, it actually fared out pretty well. So... Sami Callihan did a splash on the Moose on the outside. A lot of technical stuff in the ring. A lot of near falls. Eventually, Moose... No. I know what happened now. Okay. Moose is in the ring with Sami Callihan, and OVE, for no reason, bam, disqualification right then and there. OVE comes in, they attack Moose, and it's a disqualification. Because you can't do that in wrestling. It's fucking stupid, dude. There were 2 disqualification finishes tonight, which kind of pissed me off. So, OVE attacks Moose, and that is... then Eddie Edwards comes out because Sami Callihan said he's going to beat all of Eddie Edwards' best friends, and Moose is one of them. So he comes out, and he's like... and he tries to attack Sami Callihan to no avail. And eventually... the lights go out. While all this is happening, the lights turn off. And then it takes about a good, I think 30 seconds? No, 15 seconds or so. And then the lights turn back on. And who is it but Tommy Dreamer? Tommy Dreamer comes back to TNA. He has a kendo stick and he's beating up people with it. And that drags OVE and Sami Callihan away. They run back to the ramp. Tommy Dreamer, Moose, and Edwards are standing tall. And Dreamer announces that they will have a 6-man tag House of Hardcore match. How convenient is that? Because Tommy Dreamer's promotion is called House of Hardcore. How more convenient can you get? So they're going to have a 6-man tag at Redemption, just basically for bragging rights. Not for a title, just basically for essentially the fact that they want to kick each other's asses. So there you go. There's that. They made a weird segment. This was a weird segment. Earlier in the show, the commentators, Josh Matthews and former Impact X Division champion Sanjay Dutt, were commentating on several different matches that were going to happen during the night. And Josh Matthews said, I have to go away for a sec. I have to prepare for my match against Petey Williams. He has a match? Seriously? I haven't seen Josh Matthews wrestle personally, but if Slammiversary is any indication of anything, it's not going to go out good. Because the Slammiversary, you had Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner. Yeah, he's here a lot. Scott Steiner is. And they took on Joseph Park, a.k.a. Fat Dude in a Tracksuit, versus, as well as Jeremy Borash, one of the announcers for Impact, one of the former announcers for Impact. He now works for WWE. What a weird way to go out, huh? So Josh Matthews comes out, and apparently his new gimmick, he's teaming apparently with the X Division champion Matt Sydal, WWE's Evan Bourne. The X Division championship, I forgot to mention, is the Cruiserweight championship, basically in Impact Wrestling. So there's that. So Evan Bourne comes out with Josh Matthews, and Josh Matthews preparing for his match. Apparently his gimmick is something along the lines of yoga, because apparently he has a catchphrase, and his catchphrase is Namaste. It's a weird catchphrase, but at the same time, I don't know, there's something about it, something that really pulls me in, so I don't know, Namaste. I like the word. And here comes the Canadian Destroyer, Petey Williams, right in his tail, and Petey Williams and Josh Matthews have what you shouldn't call a match, but more of like, I think, a plea for help. All I saw in the match was like Josh Matthews cowering in fear, because remember, he's not a wrestler, he's a commentator. So he cowers in fear for the Petey Williams, even though he said he was going to kick his ass tonight. He's not. Apparently, he's getting all flustered because he's a commentator, not a wrestler. That's how the shit goes, apparently. He gets scared, he jumps out of the ring several times, and Petey says he's had enough. He's going out there, he's chasing Josh Matthews, and from out of nowhere, I think Josh Matthews tried to perform a Canadian Destroyer on Petey Williams, which, if you're not a wrestling fan, a Canadian Destroyer is when the person's in like a power bomb. Think of one person standing up like this, and one person's in the holding the other person with two hands, crouched down, and picks them up and slams them down on their back. That's a power bomb. So the Canadian Destroyer is basically a flip pile driver. What it is in the power bomb position, but you're flipping over and the opponent is landing on their head. It's one of the most dangerous yet insanely fantasized finishing moves of all time, because it's unlikely everybody in wrestling can pull it off, because remember, there are guys like 200, 300, maybe 400 pounds, 300, 400 mostly, that can't take the move. So it's kind of a hard draw for Petey to really do that move to anybody more than about 205 pounds. So Josh was attempting that, and then Petey tried to attempt it, but I think Matt Sydal got pissed or something, and he attacked Petey, and that was another disqualification. I was pretty pissed about that, actually. I did not like that at all. And Sydal beat up Petey and choked him with his jacket, and then they left. So is Sydal the bad guy? I think Sydal's the bad guy. It sounded and looked like he was the bad guy, so I guess he's the bad guy now, apparently. That's kind of shitty, because Matt Sydal, I've always looked at Matt Sydal, Evan Bourne, as a face, so seeing him go heel is kind of a step up and a step down for me. Next segment was a promo with Johnny. I almost called him Johnny Fantastic. Fuck. Because they called him Johnny Gorgeous. That's not his name. It's Johnny Impact. Johnny Impact, Johnny Nitro, Johnny Mundo, or as many people know him as, John Morrison, cuts a promo in the back, and he's in a current feud with Congo Kong, a.k.a. basically a dude in an afro with face paint, all right? He's a weird fellow, Congo Kong. and his manager, Jimmy Jacobs, former writer for WWE, who was fired because he was caught taking a picture with the Bullet Club, of all people. So I think Jimmy Jacobs was speaking a little bit. I forget what happened, but I think the one thing I remember from that promo is Johnny Mundo was like, next week, I'm going to be there. I'm going to face Congo Kong. And you hear Josh Matthews in the background. He's like, oh my God, Johnny Mundo's going to face Congo Kong? Actually, that might have been Sanjay Dutt. Yeah, he was like, oh my God, Johnny Mundo's going to face Congo Kong? Oh, my humanity. Because Congo Kong's a fucking huge dude. Speaking of big dudes, oh God. This, I think, was the best segment of the night right here. I think there's some sort of rivalry going on. I can't really make it out too much. But I think fat guy Falaba, fat sumo wrestler, apparently Falaba, had a match with the Brooklyn Bully KM last week. And apparently the Cult of Lee, the stupidest tag team I've ever seen, the most generic tag team you can ever hope to look for. Basically, you can make them on a WWE game easy. There's no sweating. There's no sweat to make them on a game. So if you want to make them on a game, go ahead. Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley came out and they started to attack Falaba, and from out of nowhere, here comes my favorite Impact Wrestling wrestler, Richard Justice. I love Richard Justice so much. He's so geeky, but at the same time, he's such a joy. I love him. So Richard Justice comes out. He starts to attack, and now it's 2-on-3. Oh no, what's gonna happen? And here comes Tyrus, former Brodus Clay in WWE. He comes out. He starts to attack as well, and that bases the setting for this week, where we have the Cult of Lee and KM taking on Falaba, Richard Justice, and Tyrus. This should be a fun match, and it was. It was a very fun, goofy match that I actually found myself enjoying very much. So thank you, TNA, for that. That really made my night, I think. So at the end of the day, the three fat guys did win. There was a part of the match, before I go on here, there's part of the match where Richard Justice falls on both Cult of Lee members, so that was hilarious. So Falaba, sumo wrestler dude, Richard Justice, a cool, dank-ass cop-like dude. In fact, his Twitter handle is SuperCop Justice. Justice is in capital letters. If you want to go follow him on Twitter, there you go. And Tyrus won the match. After they tried doing some push-ups, Tyrus, I think, gave up after 2. And Richard Justice just kept on going, but his belly fat kept hitting the ring. That made me laugh a lot, so thank you guys for that. That is really the best segment you're coming up with right now. So there are also different shots of, I forgot to state this, but the current Impact champion Austin Aries was scheduled to face Alberto El Patron, former Alberto Del Rio, but he's a fucking moron. Alberto El Patron is a fucking idiot, because for like the third time, he has gotten himself into a bay of shit because he no-showed an Impact Wrestling show. Last weekend, it was Impact Wrestling versus Lucha Underground, and Alberto no-showed, so he was let go of his contract. After over a year of service for Impact Wrestling, they finally decided to let the poor fucker go, and good riddance. Bye-bye. If you're going to fuck up the company, you don't deserve to be there, essentially. So, the main event for Redemption was changed. It's now Austin Aries versus Pentagon Jr. versus Phoenix, because both of those guys got a shot last week. Pentagon Jr. is a cool dude. He's a dark, spooky dude, and in a mask. And Phoenix is also a cool dude. I think he was former Lucha Underground champion at one point, but they're going to have a match at Redemption, all for the Impact World Championship, which I don't think Austin Aries is going to lose that match, but I don't know. Maybe he will. I don't know. And the last match of the night here, before I go, is the Demons Dance match between Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. This is a Divas match. In TNA, they call them knockouts. So this was a fine match, basically a hardcore match. You can call it that. It was not for the Knockouts Championship or anything like it usually is every week. It's just your normal average hardcore match. These two gals going across. They were going across the ramp. I can't remember what happened. Knee deep into the whole match. But at the end of the match, I know for a fact Rosemary was on top of the turnbuckle, and she was about to hit her finishing move, which apparently is called Red Wedding. That's a cool name for a finishing move. And Rosemary ends up hitting a pile driver off of the turnbuckle and puts Taya Valkyrie through a table, to which Rosemary then pins Taya and wins the match. And that was Impact. And to be fair, I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. It does have its talent. Richard Justice is there, so that easily makes it a better show. But it's a huge blow of talent. No Alberto El Patron, no Bobby Lashley, since he's in WWE now, he's signed with WWE. No EC3, he's in WWE as well. A lot of guys have recently left Impact, so it's kind of a hard draw for Impact to really get their fan base back, because their old stars are starting to leave, and new stars are starting to take over, and building new stars is kind of hard, especially for Impact, because they have a lot of no-namers, people who don't really have a lot of freelance gigs, and people who, like no-namers as in people who don't have as big names as WWE does. So essentially they're in that kind of echelon. So I hope you enjoyed that. This is just a test, of course. If you guys like this, I will do this full-time, probably when I get my new computer. This is just the test because I have no space on this one, and I only have a little bit of time left. So there you go. If you like this podcast, like it, comment, maybe share it, and I might do this again next week. Who knows? I might do this, I don't know. It's all about fan response. If you fans like it, I'll do it again. So thanks for joining me here, and good night, everybody. Good night. Good night, good night, good night. I will be seeing you folks sometime. I don't know when.